Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Storytime. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy Friday. Thank you indeed for joining in wherever you are, and I hope that you've had a lovely time so far, and of course wishing you an even better rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. It has been a wonderful week of books, and I hope that you've enjoyed them, and one more to go this week, and we're bringing this one back to Storytime. For is coming back to Storytime, and this one is written by Alejandra Domenzain, illustrations by KATHERINE. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. I hope you're excited. This one is a longish book, so we'll be getting started very, very shortly. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. It is December 1st. Thank you so much for being here. World AIDS Day. So please do check out and see, get more information, and of course see how you can support, donate to organizations that are working to mitigate the effects of HIV and AIDS. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime today. I am glad that we're here together. Yes, for all coming up very, very shortly. And please remember too that we are now a week away from 9 days, a week away from the Social Justice Children's Book Holiday Fair, which will be happening at Emerson Elementary in Oakland. So please come on up, show up, turn up, let your friends know what's happening, let them come on and meet the authors, illustrators, creators that will be there. Storytime will be there, and there'll be lots of fun, including the bike blender. Come and make yourself a smoothie. Pedal away and you walk away with a smoothie. There'll be raffles that will be happening, So come on out and win yourself something. Yeah, a great book or something else amazing. Thank you indeed for joining us here on Storytime. Absolutely loving that we have this event coming up. The 7th annual Social Justice Children's Book Holiday Fair at Emerson Elementary in Oakland, 4803 Lawton Avenue in Oakland. Thank you for joining us here on Storytime. Looking forward to that one, but we do have a wonderful book indeed to read together. And remember too, this week and next, we will be reading books from creators that will be showcased or that have showcased at the Social Justice Children's Book Holiday Fair. Excited for all that's happening. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend this week. I hope that something good is happening in your area that you can get to go to, or indeed, I hope that you're able to just have a wonderful, nice stroll around your neighborhood. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. I know that it is cold in places. Well, out here in the Bay, it is or cold by our standards for sure. So be sure to grab a jacket as you go out there. I think this weekend actually promises to be nice and sunny. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. Thank you indeed for being here with us on Story Time. Let us see this morning who is with us ready for the story. Thank you so much for joining in today. Morning ingredients. Thank you so much for joining us. Kathy, Keith, thank you indeed for joining in. And are you still in Kentucky? I hope you are. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope you're having a wonderful time out there with Ari and Megan. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. A big good morning to you indeed. And of course, if you're back in Ohio, well, we send our love as well to Luna, and hope you're doing great. Thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. Please get ready, get comfortable, get cozy. We will be getting started with our story very, very shortly. Thank you indeed for joining us. And if you join in on Storytime later on for the recordings, well, please be sure to leave us a message. Let us know you were here so we can say hi to you and your loved ones. Thank you indeed for joining us here on Storytime. And of course, we'll be right back after this short break to get started with our story. But remember too that the Social Justice Children's Book Holiday Fair will be happening at Emerson Elementary. I'm excited for this one. I hope that indeed you can join us if you can. But remember too that if you miss it, you can always catch, if you can't be here in person, remember that you can catch us on the live streams on the Storytime platforms at Storytime with Mr. Limada on Instagram, on Facebook, as well as YouTube. And remember too to follow us on Instagram and see all the things Storytime. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. Oh, have a wonderful time out there, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed every minute of it. Oh yes, good to know that you've had fun, and may the fun continue for sure. Thank you indeed for joining us here on Storytime. Good morning to you. Say happy Friday from cold and wet and dreary Illinois. Well, thank you so much for being here, Sarah and Nathan, and of course, Amanda West. Thank you for joining us. I hope that you are having a wonderful time nonetheless. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. I'll catch you on the other side of this short break when we're back for our book for today.
You're watching Storytime with Maple and Cypress. Just kidding. You're watching Storytime with Mr. Lamada.
Thank you so much, Harry. As always, managing to put a smile on our faces. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, glad you're here with us on Storytime. Storytime with Maple and Cypress. All right, here we go today. Our book, For Todos. This one is written by Alejandra Domenzain, and illustrations by KATHERINE LOH. And there's a lot in here too. Like, I hope that you get an opportunity to interact with this book. I know that it's indie published, but I hope that your libraries or somewhere carries it. So look for it, ask for it at your local library. And yeah, just lots and lots of fantastic information in here. Wonderful story. But we'll go and get started today. Here we go. This is the story of a girl named Flo. Why she came to this land and what happened before. Her country was right next to this one, and yet it seemed just as far as you could possibly get. Flo learned from TV about life on that side, staring in wonder with eyes wide open. People there, it appeared, owned oh so much stuff, while for her there was usually never enough. When she saw TV shows that had Christmas with snow, kids opening gifts in the trees' cozy glow, she dreamt of bright gifts piled high on the floor. When you thought you were done, there was always one more. As she put on her clothes and combed her black hair, she would chat with her dad about life over there. Do you know they have so many dresses and shoes that they are late every day because it's so hard to choose? They are late every day because it's so hard to choose. Flo dreamt of that place where if you had sorrow, you always believed in the hope of tomorrow. Where the endings were happy and teeth gleamed so white, no one was hungry and the law made things right. One day her dad said, Flo, we're leaving our land. The fields have all turned into dust and dry sand. We cannot grow corn with so little water. Our land cannot feed us, my dear darling daughter. Can't you find other work? Get a job in the factory? I've tried, said her dad. It was unsatisfactory. The machines and the chemicals filled me with fear. At work, Mom got sick after only a year. I couldn't save her, but can save you, my dear. You are all that I have, and I can't raise you here. Are we going to the land that we see on TV? Will we fly in a plane? Will there be toys for me? Her dad forced a smile and put on a brave face. It won't be so easy to get to that place. It's a risk. It's a risk, I've been told, but we just have to take it. They say over there, those who work hard can make it. They call it foro para todos because they are all hard workers and are given a chance, fair and square. The people that built it came from all different places. It's clear when you look at their skin and their faces. The world's yummiest foods are found everywhere, and all the world's languages float in the air. If we're homesick, said Flo, we can always come back. I am not sure about that, Father's voice seemed to crack. They walked around knowing this would be their last time. First to the tree where Flo learned how to climb, then to the spot where her mother was buried. Who will pull out the weeds and bring flowers? She worried. She looked at her home with a last loving glance. Dad said, we must go while we still have the chance. No matter what happens, wherever we live, be proud of our family. We have so much to give. The journey was tiring, dangerous, and long, but Flo and her father had hope and stayed strong. There were deserts and rivers and caves and a train. They drank water from puddles and washed in the rain. The journey was tiring, dangerous, and long. But Flo and her father had hope and stayed strong. They made it, feet blistered, their clothes more like rags, and stared up in awe. And when they saw the great flags, the stripes of Faro waved high in the air. They seemed to announce, we all come from somewhere, but now that you're here, we are one land united. As they got to the gate, Flo was proud and excited. The guard at the gate asked, where were you born? When Dad answered, he gave him a look of great scorn. He gave Dad 2 papers. Dad squinted his eyes. Did Dad understand them? Were they a surprise? Flo asked. Why do we get those? What do they say? Don't worry, Dad said, and they put them away. Flo had glimpsed a red X, but did not tell her dad. Had they done something wrong? In school, X's were bad. When they finally arrived at their new destination, it was not what Flo dreamt in her imagination. Their apartment was small, with no garden, no pool. She felt lost and alone in her strange big new school. Dad came home every night, so achy and weary, played songs from his past, which made him get teary. Are you hurt? Are you sad? Dad, are you okay? Let's rest now, my love. It's been a long day. Flo found it hard to learn a new language. Her lunch felt all wrong. Couldn't Dad make a sandwich? Flo tried to blend in. Being lonely felt sour. She said to her class, "My name is Flo, which means flower." Kids exploded in laughter. "You're named after the floor?" Flo's cheeks turned bright red, and they giggled some more. Flo knew other kids came from far away too. Was it easier for them? Did they know what to do? Every day, could Flo could feel her heart and head ache. Was coming to for all one big mistake. One day, during recess, Flo sat on the grass. Miss Soto came out for her language arts class. She saw Flo was adrift and said, "You're not alone. Your story reminds me a lot of my own." Flo said, "It's so hard. They don't understand." "I do," said Miss Soto, taking Flo's hand. "I started like you. Coming here was a struggle. You will soon feel at home." She gave Flo a snuggle. "When I was your age and was stuck, I would write, and words would reach into the dark like a light. I want you to have this green pen, for I am sure that writing will help you stay strong and endure." Flo began writing, first choppy and slow, but soon words gushed forth, filling row after row. She wrote of the journey, the things they left behind. She wrote of her dreams, oh, she hoped she would find. She could finally explain with the help of her pen how you ache and you grow when you're starting again. Miss Soto said, "You have a story to tell. I'm sure other students have felt this as well. Put it in the school paper for others to read. Your words will help others who are also in need." And it did. Kids came up and told Flo, "We read it. We feel the same way, and we're so glad you said it." Flo ran straight back home to tell her dad all about it. "Things will get better." She wanted to shout it, but Dad wasn't home, again working late. Flo stared at the window. It was so hard to wait. As night fell, she realized, "I don't know where Dad is. I wrote down my story, but I don't know his." When Dad came home tired and sat down to unwind, Flo asked all the questions she had on her mind. "Why are you tired with no time for fun?" Dad said, "Work is hard when you're out in the sun. Last Christmas, you said we couldn't go shopping. Why don't you have money if you work without stopping? Your jobs are so hard, it doesn't seem fair. The boss takes the money. Why can't he share?" Big questions to ponder, right? Last Christmas, you said we couldn't go shopping. Why don't you have money if you work without stopping? Your jobs are so hard. It doesn't seem fair. The boss takes the money. Why can't he share? Dad looked at Flo, his eyes crinkled with pain. He said, "There is something I have to explain. Remember those papers we got long ago? I tried to protect you, but it's time that you know." He took out the papers they'd gotten before. With a low, trembling voice, he read one to Flo. "To all those that come to Faro, be advised. Here are the rules so you won't be surprised." To all who come to Faro, here are the rules so you won't be surprised. You can pick the strawberries or pounds of tomatoes, clean up the bathrooms and fry the potatoes. You can't get more money or work without paying. You'll get into trouble if you dare to complain. If you do, guards will come in no time at all. We can have you locked up and removed with one call. Hmm. Imagine living life like that. For all those who come to Faro, here are the rules so you won't be surprised. You can pick the strawberries and pounds of tomatoes, clean up the bathrooms and fry the potatoes. You can't get more money or work without paying. You will get in trouble if you dare to complain. If you do, guards will come in no time at all. We can have you locked up and removed with one call. So, if you speak up, they can take you away. Yes, Flo, I have to just do what they say. I know it's not fair, but I do it for you. If you study, then there is so much more you can do. Her dad seemed to trust things for her would be better. But Flo was afraid there was more to this letter. She saw one more page, which her dad didn't mention. Was that page about her? Flo swallowed. Flo swallowed the question. Flo put her green pen away, far out of sight. It wasn't enough to tell stories and write. Dad couldn't speak up. It wasn't allowed. It was safer for her to blend in with the crowd. Flo needed to use all her determination to get into school for a good education. For her next school, a test would decide. If Flo knew all the answers, they would let her inside. Every day, Flo would study, learning slowly but steady. And when the test came, she was totally ready. She had done it. Her dad had been right to believe, for all really gave her the chance to achieve. The school would accept her with one big hooray. Flo planned her first day and what she would say. "I will go to this school to invent a new pill to help mothers like mine if they ever get ill, and to have a fair job, not like those of my dad. Then I will buy him the things that he's never had." Congratulations, Flo. When she got to the school, she saw a big sign. "If your papers have check marks, go stand in the line. If they have a red X, that means you should go. We cannot accept you." The answer is no. The guard said, "I know your test score was great, but the orders I have say don't open the gate. If you were born here, then you belong. If you were not, you will always be wrong. Our grandparents weren't born here. Yes, that is true, but we must draw the line, and we draw it at you." Flo ran to her father and asked, "Did you know? Did that paper list places where I cannot go?" "Yes, Flo. It said to all those that come no justice for all means justice for some. For me, it means jobs with hard work and low pay. For you, I guess schools will now send you away. I hoped that with time, we would both be accepted. You would be let in, and I would be respected." Flo said, "Oh, Dad, I have so much to learn. You believed in Para Todos, and now it's my turn. I have to help those in the same situation. Immigrants long to belong to this nation. I think that the problem is people don't know. The workers are tired. Youth have nowhere to go. If they heard all our stories, I think they would agree. To be fair to the immigrant, like you and like me." Dad said, "I am scared. Speaking out can be tough. But you're right. Working hard just isn't enough. We need to convince them to make a new route, to work without fear and be let into school." Flo remembered Miss Soto and all their advice. She grabbed her green pen without thinking twice. She would write down the stories of people she had met who hadn't been able to speak up just yet. She started with dads and wrote it down. Then she interviewed immigrants all over town. "I will go on TV to get out the word. Tell voters the truth that haven't been heard. The truths that haven't been heard." The man at the station asked, "Why are you here? People like you never dare to come near. There are so many stories that I have to offer about the unfairness that immigrants suffer. Your viewers need to know the truth when they vote. They might change their minds when they hear what I wrote. If they know what it's like, I trust that they will care. Vote for schools for all kids and jobs that are fair." Long ago, Flo had seen Furore on TV. Now she knew that Furore wasn't all it should be. But this was her home now. She felt loyal and proud, so she had to speak up and say her truth right out loud. Flo went on TV and got people's attention. She got them to listen and also to question immigrants should not be abused and left out. Justice must be what this country is about. When Flo finished talking, people called on the phone saying, "We feel the same. You aren't alone. We also believe we can make this place better. United, we will change unfair laws all together." Flo couldn't believe it. There were so many others who stood up for each other like sisters and brothers. They told her, "We know we are all one community. We are strong only if we believe in our unity." So Flo joined with the group to give a big speech, and together their voices had a much wider reach. "You inspired us all to vote for new rules. We will win justice for all in our jobs and our schools. What do you think? What do you think is right in this situation? Should immigrants have a fair chance in this nation? Should all kids have schools where they study for free and workers get paid so they live comfortably?" Here's what I found. Oh, Siri. Oh, goodness. Siri wants to answer the questions for us. What do you think is right in this situation? Should immigrants have a fair chance in this nation? Should all kids have schools where they can study for free and workers get paid so they can live comfortably? Yeah, some questions to think about. One day you will vote and make that big choice. So be ready to answer and lift up your voice. But for now, Flo's going around giving out pens. Even dad started talking about rights with his friends. Your moment will come, though you may not know when. So why not start writing? Pick up your green pen. Yes, indeed. Pick up your green pen. Start telling your story. And that's the end of our story. When we come back, I'll read a little bit of the back matter so we can just to send this off. But thank you so much for joining in Story Time. A powerful story indeed. And yeah, one big issue that that we need to handle better, right? Like there's just so much that is going on, and once we read the back matter too, there'll be lots of issues that will be raised in there as well that I hope that we can think about that as in regards to immigration. Yeah, so I'll catch you on the other side of this short break when we're back for more story time. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Absolutely appreciate the time we get to spend together.
I Too by Langston Hughes. I too am America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Nobody will dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America.
Ah, beautiful. Thank you, Soraya, and I hope that you're okay. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I hope you enjoyed the book that we were reading, For All Para Todos, written by Alejandra Domenzain, who will be at the Social Justice Children's Book Holiday Fair and is one of the organizers for the event. So come on up and join us. And this one is illustrated by KATHERINE LOH. Powerful book indeed. And let's just go back to outside here. A little bit about Alejandra as well. And there's a whole interview that we did together, a whole conversation that we had here on Storytime. And she got to talk about her work. And Alejandra Domenzain grew up in Mexico and the United States. She has been an advocate of immigrant workers for over 25 years and also worked as an elementary school teacher. Currently, she is dedicated to improving workplace health and safety for low-wage workers. Alejandra is using her green pen to write books that invite kids to question, dream, and stand up for justice. I love that. And thank you indeed. And here we go to about the issues in this book. And we're just going to read a little bit here. So it says, historically, people from all over the world have come to the United States for many reasons. When European settlers came, they pushed out the indigenous people living here out of their homes and killed many others. Africans were kidnapped and brought up here to work as slaves. People from many countries came to do crucial work that sustained the economy and built the culture of this country for hundreds of years. Many others have come fleeing war, poverty, and unfair treatment. In some cases, the United States has been directly and indirectly responsible for the conditions that cause people to flee their homes. For example, the US government has funded and supported violent governments and set up trade agreements that contribute to poverty in other countries. Immigrants still do many important and tough jobs, but often they don't get paid enough to meet their basic needs and face conditions that put at risk their safety and health. They are often threatened that if they speak up, they will lose their job or be deported, sent to the country where they were born against their will. No matter how they were born, no matter how much they have contributed to this country, in spite of this, immigrant workers have fought for fair working conditions and have made big changes. Some immigrant children grow up as members of this country, but face limitations for being undocumented, not having the right papers to give them permission to live here. There are many things undocumented people can't do, including voting, getting a driver's license, and getting a loan or scholarship to pay for college. They live in constant fear that their families will be separated. and that they will lose everything they have worked for. Many young people who were brought here as children have joined together and organized to demand fair treatment. This could include a chance to get the papers they need to study, work, vote, and live in the country they call home without fear of being deported. In recent years, children coming to this country have been separated from their relatives by US immigration officials and put in separate detention facilities, making it hard for families to reunite. Both children and adults are being locked up in unsafe conditions for long periods of time, often in ways that harm them and violate their rights. If Flo and her father had come to the United States in the past few years, they may have been separated from each other, and this would have been a different story. Many people welcoming immigrants are their neighbors, teachers, friends, caretakers, grandparents, and life partners. Most people want to fix our unfair immigrant system. This could mean making sure those who come here can do so safely and with permission, giving those without documents a chance to get them, and making sure that all people who live here have basic rights. It could also include making sure those who come here are treated fairly and are in safe conditions until it is decided whether they can stay. Some people feel threatened by immigrants because they seem different or because they fear immigrants will commit crimes or take their jobs, even though the evidence does not support this. In every generation, there has been fear about new immigrants. Often the children and grandchildren of immigrants worry about new immigrants coming in, even though most immigrants are an integral part of our culture, economy, and society. Many decisions will be made regarding the rights of immigrants in this country. Undocumented people are not allowed to vote. So citizens have a big role to play in making these decisions. However, the courageous actions of people like the characters of Flo and her father have convinced many voters that immigrants deserve to be respected, appreciated, recognized, and given the same opportunities as those born here. Also, many believe that immigrants are what make this country uniquely rich in its culture, vibrant in its growth, and alive with people who dream and build. For more information about the book and this big topic that we're talking about today, you can go to www.foroparatodos.net. Thank you so much for joining in here today. And there's a lot of questions too that I'm sure are coming up for you, and you might want to ask, you might want to dive into. And some of those, Flo and her dad decided to go to Foro because there are no jobs in their country. What are other reasons why immigrants leave their homes? What are other reasons why immigrants leave their homes, right? Flo and her dad have their story, but what are some reasons that others may leave their homes? Some of them we talked about in the book. Some of them have been written about in the back matter. What do you think? What are Flo's expectations of life for all? How does the reality differ from what she dreamt about? The dad did indeed find jobs in Foro, but were probably not what he hoped for. Why? Miss Soto plays an important role in the story. What does Flo learn from her? So lots of things to think about, lots of things to talk about in this book. And if you can get it at your local library, there's all those discussion questions that you can follow up in there. And just get to read and dive into these topics. Lots of questions to answer, right? And even with the story of immigration, why are immigrants from certain countries, mostly European countries, treated differently from everybody else, right? So looking at all those things, let's have these conversations, and I hope that you go into this weekend. I know today is a Friday, but the need for justice, the need for us to be critical about these things and really dive into them never stops, right? There's no weekend for them. So let's make sure that we ask ourselves these questions today, prompt ourselves, have discussions, and indeed try and look at all those solutions that have been suggested in here. What would you do? What would you suggest, right? and find organizations, many wonderful organizations, including ones that Alejandra works for, that do such amazing work. So let's find out there. And there's documentaries out there too that tell so many stories of immigrants. And I hope that you can dive into some of those and we can continue to learn together. Thank you, Alejandra Domenzain. Thank you for all of you here for, of course, sticking around and listening to this topic. And of course, interacting with it, navigating it. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. A powerful story indeed. Couldn't agree more with you. Thank you so much, Kathy. And of course, Ari and Megan, thank you for joining us here on Storytime today. I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope it has left you thinking and wanting to find out more and wanting to help, of course, and seeing how we can play a role in ensuring that it is indeed the land for all. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. And one more time, Nathan and Sarah, thank you for joining us here on Storytime. You say happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday to you. And we hope that you stay warm and dry out there in Illinois, where it is cold and wet today. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. Amanda West, good to see you. Actually, I must say that too. Yeah, good to see you back live here with us. I'm glad we're able to catch you today. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. Kathy and of course Ari and Megan, enjoy this last day of the visit together. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of Storytime. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. I did say today's book is one of the long ones indeed, but I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please remember that you can always find Storytime at storytimewithmrlimada.com and get to enjoy all the wonderful books that we have there for you. And remember too that this event is coming up. The Social Justice Children's Book Holiday Fair will be happening at Emerson Elementary. It is a double treat this time around. Emerson Elementary is having their fundraiser, so come on out and support them, and of course come on out and support our creators that will be there, including Alejandra Domenzain, author, creator of this wonderful book that we just read today, and who is doing such amazing work in the community. Thank you indeed for being here, friends. I will see you again next week when we are back with more stories that are featuring or that are created and feature creators that will be at the Social Justice Children's Book Holiday Fair. So one more week of amazing books, of course, and then it is the Social Justice Children's Book Fair on December 9th. Emerson Elementary in Oakland. Yes, thank you so much for being here, friends. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. Sending you lots and lots of hugs, big hugs, love, and I hope that, you enjoy the rest of this day. This has been Storytime for today. This has been Storytime on this wonderful Friday morning, and I hope it is indeed a wonderful Friday, as Sarah and Nathan put it. Thank you so much for being here. Much love from me. Bye-bye.
Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing time. Whoa. Story time. Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh. Story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh. He brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be with. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be